Okay, this is an, next question from the EXO challenge for April gear assessment. This one's on layering system. What changes, if any, do I need to make to my layering system? What issues with comfort or performance have affected me on previous hunts? What ways has my clothes not kept me warm, dry, or and comfortable? Have I taken the time to understand proper layering strategies to get the performance from clothing I already own? If I'm considering clothing upgrades or additions, what specific issues am I trying to fix or improve? How will I test and validate any changes made? Um, I don't feel like there's a lot of changes I need to make to my layering system. So um, I may have said this before. I've hunted majority of my life, on and off, I guess you could say. When I say, growing up, it was like we'd hunt a couple days over a weekend or 2 weekends maybe. And we never had camo. It was just like we had some blaze orange that was just made out of cotton, hunting jeans and whatever, kind of grubbyish clothes that we had. And I can remember a lot of times being cold and or sweaty and like having chafing on the inside of my legs or my butt cheeks, some swass. And there's memory and misery. I still look back on those times fondly. Like I don't regret them, but when I eventually, got through school and graduated and have had a career and some money of my own to, I guess, invest in gear and equipment, clothing is the first thing I invested in. And most people would probably say like that's kind of dumb. Um, why wouldn't you, if you're first getting into hunting, which wasn't the case for me, but if you are first getting into hunting, clothing's maybe not the first thing to invest in. Um, but for me is like I want to be comfortable while I'm out there, and I don't want the excuse to be or just constantly be thinking about this. Goes same with like physical fitness and health. If you've got an injury or some kind of pain in your foot or somewhere, just like that much more of an irritant that you're focusing on that versus the hunt and what you're doing. So for me, that's what clothing means and the gear regarding clothing. And I am pretty particular about clothing and feel like I have a pretty good system. Um, so I'm going to go just as like to answer this question of since I'm particular, um, let's go from head to toe pieces of gear that I like and some layering stuff that I like for, like your mid or not mid, but your torso area. So starting with the head, as far as like hats, like I actually in particular about hats, I've got a big head. Um, Actually, my current favorite hat is the EXO Mountain Gear hat that they just came out with. It's like a synthetic hat. I've worn it before on this channel. It's got the orange logo. It's black. I also bought a green one because I liked it so much. But again, I've got a big head. That hat, one, if the fit has just a little bit of stretch to it, like the perfect amount of stretch, where you've obviously got the band in the back to adjust it, but it has just enough stretch where sometimes I feel like a hat between the sizes that's in the back, it's either too loose or too tight, and if it's too tight, it's putting too much pressure on my head, and I can sometimes get a headache if I'm wearing it all day. Um, if it's too loose, then it's falling off or it's getting knocked off or a branch or wind, whatever else. But this EXO one, I think it's made by Richardson. I looked it up and just saw the tag was made. It's a Richardson hat. And my other favorite, like cotton hat, is also made by Richardson. So, but this one is just has that little bit extra stretch where I can have it a tight fit, but a little bit of stretch and give that I don't get those headaches all the time. Um, as far as a beanie, if it's cold weather, if it's really, really cold, First Light has a beanie called the Brim Tundra beanie that I really like. It's really warm and I like the brim. So if it's snowing or raining, it's just that little extra protection to keep snow or rain like from getting in your eyes. It's just that little extra, yeah, like I said, protection. Another beanie, like if a little bit lighter weight, the Sitka 330 merino beanie. is nice because it fits me well. Like it just comes, barely over my ears. I can pull it down tight and it doesn't come off. It's thin enough that I could put a brimmed hat over it if I wanted to. Um, like I said before, I do a lot of still hunting. Instead of having hoods, I'm realizing this now more that I'm hunting. Hoods tend to cause a lot of more noise around my ears and I can't hear as well. But that merino beanie is really quiet and I can hear very well through it and still feel warm. So those are some key pieces that I like, for headwear, so to speak. Um, Next, as far as tops, or I guess the torso area for tops, base layer, the Sitka Core lightweight hoodie is unmatched for durability and breathability, in my opinion, at least that I've tried. Um, and the fit, so I should say this before I move on. Fit to me is, with whatever piece of gear, is the most important thing. Fit, which also I guess translates to comfort. Um, yeah, I would say fit is probably the most important thing. Dare I say, with any piece of clothing gear, fit is the most important thing for me. Um, yeah, so in this case, for the Sitka Core lightweight hoodie, the large tall is just spot on, the perfect fit for me. I don't like it's tight through the arms, but just enough stretch that I don't feel like restricted. The same with the chest area; it's nice and snug with a little bit of extra room in the waist, um, but not too much extra room. The hood, I'm still like undecided on. Like the hood itself is good, but it comes with that built-in face mask. I've used it sometimes. I can't say that it's been that useful. Mostly like turkey hunting, I've tried to use it, and I can't say that it's worked or not worked. Sometimes it's, yeah, just in the way of, like, you want to just put the hood on, and that face mask is in the on the back of your neck, and it can kind of be annoying. But debating whether I should cut it out or not, I don't know. But regardless, that is my favorite, at least Western big game base layer, is the Core lightweight hoodie specifically. Basically as a sun hoodie, it's super durable, bust brush through it. There's no signs of wear, and it really wicks. When I first put that on, and I went on like a June or July hike in it, and I was shocked about like how dry my skin was, that it worked that well. That I was like, this feels unnatural to me because it works so well. I was always used to getting cotton, and just the cotton being soaked in sweat and staying there all day. But I was kind of like surprised at how well the Sitka Core Lightwood hoodie worked to wick away moisture from your skin and keep you dry. And it does dry extremely fast. I've had mine for like 3 years now, and I still, the like polygene in it still works where I don't feel like it stinks. Which, if that's something you're into, um, there's that. I'm just super impressed. That's by far my favorite piece of base layer. So next is a mid layer. I have a few that I like. I don't know that there's one that I'm like a diehard about. The Sitka heavyweight hoodie is a good one. Um, I like that it's really quiet. It's a little bit on the heavier side, but it's just really basic. One, I guess, downside, this is pretty much any base layer or even mid layer, is the chest zipper pockets. I don't understand that. I never use it. I'd say get rid of them. If any company ever watches this, like, those chest pockets, I don't think anyone uses them. I don't use it, and I'd prefer just to have no pocket there at all. I feel like it just gets in the way. I'm wearing a vinyl harness. Like, I don't really see the hunt or the purpose of it. Um, so the heavyweight hoodie does have that chest pocket, but that is one complaint. But the fit, again, for me is spot on. They don't have a large tall. They have a large, but it fits me well. I have a few different colorways in that, and really enjoy that hoodie. It's warm, it's low profile, and it's quiet. Um, I first bought the Sitka Ambient 100, which I have. Um, I like it, but I only wear it now when it's really cold. Like, I'm gonna say it's got to be, I'm either walking downhill or really slow, or it's got to be below freezing. It's got to be like in the high to low mid 20s for me to even consider putting that on. Um, I run hot and I sweat, and I just feel like even though it's supposed to be like a breathable mid layer, I still feel like it doesn't breathe enough for how much I sweat. Um, I do like it overall. It's really lightweight and it's comfy. I just don't think it's a high output item. However, the Sitka Ambient 75 I really like, and I wanted to have the Outdoor Vitals one, the um, Pursuit Hybrid Fleece, I think is what they call it. I didn't get one on the first run. I have a pre-order for this next run. It's supposed to come in a couple weeks. Excited for it. Excited that it comes in a solid, but the Sitka Ambient 75 is essentially the same design of where it's that Primaloft Alpha insulation on the shoulders and in this torso area, and then the armpits and the lower portion is just a micro grid fleece. That one breathes a lot better, and evacuates the sweat where you need to, as far as like a high output. And it's like a half, if not like 3/4 zip, so you could really dump heat. At least the Sitka one is. I'm not sure about the Outdoor Vitals, but so far that has been my favorite. High output mid layer is that Sitka Ambient 75. Um, Next layer, I don't have a ton of experience with rain jackets. I heard John Barklow say this on the EXO podcast about rain gear before the whole PFAS thing came about and the laws. He's like, there's not really a good replacement that we can see right now, and buy some rain gear before, I think it was before 2025. So I ended up buying the Sitka Dew Point set because of that. And no complaints about it. It's really lightweight. I like the color. Yeah, no complaints, but also that I just like how easy it is to put on with full length, like, pant legs. Um, let's see. Sticking to layers. I honestly don't have that much experience with puffy jackets as far as down. I bought the Outdoor Vitals one because I didn't have a down piece. I've worn it on one hunt, that my buddy's late season hunt, and it super warm, but I have nothing else to compare it to. I do like the fit. Again, fit is the most important thing for me. It's, yeah, snug throughout everywhere, which is good. I don't like extra material. I like more tight fitting stuff or slim fitting stuff. I don't like the extra material hanging around. Windbreaker, soft shell. I'm not too particular on soft shells and don't really take those on hunts unless I'm hunting the front country. Sitka Jetstream or whatever. I don't know that there's one that's like far better than others. I would just say that what it's supposed to do is block the wind, and that's pretty much it. Like as lightweight as you can get it and block the wind. But one with pit zips for me is a must. And yeah, there is an item from BlackOvis, Rip BlackOvis, but it's called the Spectre jacket. I bought two of them because they were like 35 bucks on Camo Fire, and it's like a stretch. It's supposed to be a windbreaker, and it is. I'd say it blocks 80 to 85% of the wind, but it's just one layer, lightweight, stretchy layer, and I wear it mostly as like a. I don't actually wear it hunting that often. It's just more of a lifestyle piece. Like if it's like in the 50s, 60s with a cool breeze, depending where I'm at in the shade, I'll throw that on, and I'm usually perfect temperature. It's a really, I like the jacket again as more of a lifestyle piece. I could take it, I would take it hunting. I just feel like I don't usually take a dedicated windbreaker, especially if I'm taking rain gear. But okay, pants. I would say I'm more particular about pants than any other piece of gear as far as clothing and layering. Um, these that I'm wearing are actually the Wrangler ATG pants. This is kind of what I started with. I have two pairs of these, and I do like them. They are pretty quiet. The fit is not quite, I mean, what of it, 20 to 25 bucks. It's hard to beat and complain about too much. But if I'm being picky compared to other pants, they do pill a fair amount. The material is quiet, but it's also not as breathable as some other pants. A little bit too much extra material, and the length of them, you know, I couldn't find I'm usually like 33 or 34 inseam at least, and I could only ever find 32s at my Walmart. So all the ones I have in these are 32s. I just want them to be a little bit longer. So that's one complaint. A little bit too much material in the legs and the butt area. Um, the closure could be a little bit smaller. What I This is why I get particular about this, because I still hunt. Again, I don't necessarily. I'd prefer the pant to be quiet, but more importantly, because I sweat a lot and I run hot, I want it to breathe well and be able to dump heat. Um, but if there's extra material, regardless if the pant is quiet or not, I can mitigate sound just by the way I walk. Um, but that's much harder to mitigate that sound if there's extra material down here at the pant leg opening and it's swishing together, these two parts, or there's too much material here, and um, or the pants are falling down, like the hips, they're not staying around my hips, things like that. And I feel like these pants are, for the price, again, it's hard to beat, but I would say 70% of the way there. So they're not bad per se. It's still like, like a C, C plus, but it's not, again, hard to beat. I usually wear them for like an everyday pant when I'm not too concerned about sweating or whatever else, or like just doing chores. I did chores today. Um, anyway, those are kind of the things I look for in a pant, is that the length is long enough for me. The leg closure is small where it just comes around my boots and it's snug-ish, and there's not extra material for, pants to rub together. Thighs and the seat and the butt area, all this basically above the knee, should be pretty slim fitting, and the material especially should be breathable, comfortable, and stretchy. Hip zips for me, I'd say, are a must, which is another complaint about these. I even thought about taking these to a tailor and just taking this seam right here and trying to, it's hard with this pocket, but maybe creating some kind of hip zip behind here. Um, Currently, I think my favorite pant that I own is the King's Camo Arco pant. The material, the fit, um, phenomenal. Everything about it. The only two complaints I have: they have hip zips, which they're pretty good. I'd say they're 90 to 95% the way that I want them to be. Um, my favorite hip zips on any pant is the Sitka Intercept pant. Those pants are ridiculous as far as how much they cost. I was able to get some at a good price used just to try them, and I'm glad I did. The fit is pretty good, but the hip zips are phenomenal of where they place them. So, as an example, most hip zips are just directly up and down here on the side of the pants. They put theirs further back here. So, and there's no mesh. I prefer no mesh. The Arco pants have mesh. It's not my favorite. I could cut them out, but they at least have it like, starting here at the hip area and it goes all the way to just above the knee, which is the perfect length. So Sitka, all they did with the Intercept ones, I don't know why they don't do this on the other pants. They might, but they just moved it backwards, and it basically starts here more like in your butt cheek, and it comes down the leg. And so what that does is this back flap, it kind of naturally has an open, especially right here, since this zip comes right here, there's just like open gap of air that comes out like right below your butt cheek, and it just allows a ton of airflow to come through your pants. And it's, yeah, the best way to run hip zips is a little bit further back and no mesh. The only other complaint I have about the Arco pant is the back pockets. At least for a hunting pant, I never use the back pockets. If it's a lifestyle piece, I can understand back pockets, but I don't like back pockets. It's something I like about Sitka pants is they don't usually do uh, back pockets. Um, but the Arco pant is currently my favorite pant. The material is excellent. It is a little loud, but the pants breathe extremely well. They're super durable. Um, the fit is amazing. Really stretchy. I guess the only other complaint I have is I prefer slanted pockets over like traditional jean style pockets. Those ones are like the jean style. If I just have anything in these pockets, I prefer them to be slanted so it's easier to get stuff in and out and more comfortable. Um, Other two favorite pants, the Intercept pant is up there. It's a quieter pant, but it's heavier. It doesn't breathe quite as well as the Arco pant, but it is quieter, and the hip zips are phenomenal. The fit is also pretty good. The Sitka Ascent pant, they don't make it anymore. I think they call it a Mercury. I actually looked the other day. I don't know. I can't find the Mercury pant. I thought about getting another pair, but I can't find it. So I don't know why they got rid of it. But no hip zips on the Ascent or Mercury pant, which is a downside. But the material on the Ascent pant that I run is very similar to the Arco pant as far as the feel and breathability. So it's a really breathable pant. It's also noisy. The fit is also pretty good. Um, yeah, overall, I would say a good pant. But if you haven't checked it out and you watch this, check out the King's Arco pant. Phenomenal pant, in my opinion. Okay. I guess I didn't start with the base layer. If I end up, no, I guess this is very important. As far as boxers go, I always run. I've tried to run merino. Um, because I sweat a lot, they just tend to hold on to moisture. I want the sweat to dry and evacuate. So I tend to run a synthetic. I've tried several boxers. For me, what's important is that I like them to be like I got kind of long legs. I'm 6'3", mid height boxer lengths, so that my thighs don't rub together, like my skin and my thighs don't rub together ever. Um, and seams is the biggest issue. It's just like where are the seams? Because I sweat a lot, it feels like those seams get sweat trapped in them, and then they just start to chafe wherever those seams are. Um, so I don't. I want minimal seams. And Mark from EXO recommended these on a podcast or on his gear list or something, and I checked them out, and I agree they're phenomenal. It's from EXO Skin, so just the letter X, the letter O, Skin. I'm pretty sure, and I don't know what the boxers are called, but they only have like the one model or two models. It's like the regular version and the 3/4 version. Um, but they have a seam, but it's like so minimal. The whole boxer acts like there's no seams at all. Um, they have like the material is super soft and it's really form fitting. They're made for runners, like actually like Iron Man, I think, so that people can swim in them and then run in them and then like have no issues transitioning. Anyway, they are yeah, tight fitting. There's no extra material. There's virtually no seams, and they breathe really well. They have like these that's like it's not. I'm gonna say it's a mesh panel, but it's much more like technologically advanced than just mesh. It's like these breathable panels that are here on the thigh and the legs, and then on the inside of the thigh, um, it's just more of a soft, solid material to higher wear areas. The only complaint I have about those is there's no like peekaboo hole for like going pee. You have to, if I've got my pack on and I've got my pants on, I don't like to undo everything to go pee. I'd rather just, undo the zipper and then peekaboo hole. But those don't have a peekaboo hole, so it just is a small um, inconvenience without it. As far as a long john, I haven't found one that I'm like really in love with. There's some mornings. Most of the hunting I do or have done in my life has been I get on a horse and get to the top of above a basin and then hike down into the basin. So when I ride on the horse, you can get really cold. You're just sitting there, and there's, the slight wind, and it's cold. It could be in the low 20s, and you just get cold. And then you hike downhill. It's not like you're sweating and you're still hunting. I just get cold. So I've tended to wear long johns, but then what happens is that uh, I'm like chasing animals, and then I start to hike more and put out more effort, and then I sweat, and then I wish I didn't have the long johns. So it's either like I suffer on the way up there on the horse, and then just suffer until I get to that hiking, or I just suffer when I start hiking and then sweat more. So I'm looking for a good pair of zip off long johns, or whatever you want to call them, thermal leggings. Um, I have a pair of Stone Glacier. I don't remember what they're called, zip offs. I bought fairly recently. I've used them once so far. I used them just a week or so ago on a turkey hunt that was cold in the morning. And yeah, I just was able to, pull my pants down, zip those off, and then stuff it in my pack, and seemed to work pretty good. I wouldn't say they're the most comfortable, however. This is the only Stone Glacier item I've bought. I've tried on several of their pieces at like Shields. They just don't, I don't like the fit of the Stone Glacier stuff. It's just the sizing and the fit is off to me. I've tried some of their pants and their jackets, and they just don't, yeah, they're just not for me. I tried again these zip off ones from Stone Glacier, and I don't know, they're good, but they're not perfect. I'm still on the search for a thermal legging. So if you know of one that you're like fanatic about, let me know. Socks, Darn Tough socks only. Whatever socks you buy, I prefer Darn Tough, but they have to be merino, and at least over that 55% threshold of it being merino. They just are way better at, they manage moisture, and the stink and things like that, and they dry, which sounds counterintuitive because I said that the boxers, the underwear, didn't like merino. Um, there's enough spandex in the and like nylon in the Darn Tough socks that it's form fitting to your foot. Um, yeah, for me, it's just more about, because I sweat, like the stink is one thing, but yeah, I just feel like they stay soft and they can stay put on your feet. I don't know. I haven't, I guess, tried that many other socks, but I really like Darn Tough. I don't necessarily have a reason to leave or try other Darn Tough socks. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for layering in gear, but no real changes. The only, I guess, the one thing I am on the lookout for is a good mid-season pant that maybe maybe not windproof, but just more wind resistant. Um, this whole issue of the long-legged underwear. If I could find a pant that was more warm but still breathable a little bit, I could just wear the pant and not have to worry about the long johns or the long-legged underwear. Um, I have a pair that I bought them a while ago. I've probably lost weight since then, so the waist doesn't fit me that well, and there's some folds and creases in places, just extra material, like I said before. So they're not my favorite. They're doable for now, but I'm looking for like a really home run hitter mid-season pant. So if you have one, put it in the comments. Again, hip zips, good stretch, a little bit heavier weight as far, compared to like an ultra lightweight pant. But anyways, that is my answer for layering system.